Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this is the Honda Amaze, as you would know. Now the Honda Amaze in its second generation was imagined to be a very India specific car, and Honda introduced a lot of things in the car which were demanded by the Indian customers, and this straight cut grille was also one of them to give it a more rugged kind of an appearance where it looked a bit of a cross between a sedan and an SUV, had a rough built to take on bad roads kind of a look to it. And now in 2021 they have come up with the facelift for this car. Now the Amaze has been a very popular car and it has taken the battle to the Maruti Dzire, which by the way is the largest selling sedan in India, and this car has held the position for being the second largest selling sedan in India at multiple times. So it indeed is a very popular car, and for this facelifted version Honda have introduced a lot of changes to make it even more appealing. And first we are going to talk about all the changes that have been made. We'll be talking about the features, the ones which are available, the ones which are missing, and then of course we are going to talk about the performance of the car and where it excels and where it lacks. So let's get started. I have done a very detailed review of this car earlier as well, and the link can be found above. The mechanical package is more or less the same. The engines are the same, the transmissions are the same, the chassis, the suspension, all of that is the same. So if you want to dig deeper into the car, you can probably have a look at that link. Let's start with the changes now. And now if you look at this grille, it definitely looks a little bit more premium, and that big slat which looked like a block has been broken down into 3 slats. There is a 3D-ish kind of a look to the top part of the chrome, and you will see these 2 new slim horizontal slats that have been introduced. So it now looks nicer to me and doesn't have a slab-like look, which I did not quite like earlier. Another big change is the introduction of this LED projector lamp, and you also have these DRLs. The overall shape of the headlamp is more or less the same, but minor details have somewhat changed. Now not just are these headlamps new, they also comes with auto on and off functionality, which is a great value add. The wipers here though are not automatic and they are completely manual. Another change that you'll see is in this part of the bumper where you had a honeycomb mesh earlier. Now there are 2 horizontal slats. You now have an LED projector fog lamp, and this chrome garnish that you see here is also new. This area also has been slightly redesigned. All in all, the new Amaze bears a fresh look, and I would say it really works, although that straight cut front is similar to what it was before, but I really like what Honda have done with the front. You don't have front parking sensors, but that's okay. This segment generally you don't have that feature. Now let's have a look at what has changed on the side, and these 15-inch diamond cut alloys are new. I quite like them and they go well with the overall design of the car. You get a ground clearance of 170 mm. The suspension here is stellar. It's one of the highlights of the car. I really think that that's one of the highlights of this car, and I'll talk about it in a bit. These chrome door handles are also new. As you can see, there's a request sensor, so you don't really have to take the key out of your pocket. You get these blinkers on the ORVMs. There is a shark fin antenna. The greenhouse area is reasonably big, so you get ample amount of light inside. The wheels may look a little bit small, but what you see here is standard fare for this segment, so no complaints whatsoever. Coming towards the rear, the car now gets these all new C-shaped clusters for the tail lamps, and they definitely look better than before, lend an air of width to the car. And what also adds to a sense of width is this new chrome garnish that has been applied to the lower part of the bumper. So all in all, yes, at the rear the car definitely looks more premium. It looks a little bit more wider and it looks slightly bigger visually. Now since we are talking about the width, let me also show you the boot, which can be opened by pressing this button and holding it on the key. And this boot right here is 420 liters, which is the best in class. And if you want to compare it with the rest of the cars in this segment, the Dzire gets 378 liters, which is about 42 liters less. The Aura has about 18 liters less. The Aspire has only 359 liters, and the Tigor has 1 liter less at 419 liters. There is nothing much to mention in the boot. The loading lip is quite high and the illumination is right here. There is a generous splattering of insulation here, and the boot has been covered in fabric all around. Now, since we are on the topic of dimensions, we also need to understand how big this car is. And while all the cars in this segment are sub 4 meter and the length of all the cars is more or less the same, the standout feature of this car is its wheelbase, which is second only to the Aspire and is 20 mm longer than the Dzire. In terms of width, it doesn't do very well. However, it's wider than the Aura but narrower than the Dzire and the Aspire. Also, it's not the tallest. At about 1500 mm, it's about 15 to 25 mm shorter than the rest of the cars in this segment. But then again, it's the wheelbase that really matters for the space and comfort inside, and the Amaze really has a ton of space inside. So let's get inside and see how much space we have and what all features are new. Now, before we get inside, let's have a look at the key as well. Lock, unlock and boot release button, and it comes with a request sensor, so you don't really have to take the key out and you can get inside very easily. Now, before we get inside, let's have a look at the door panel, and this satin silver insert that you see here is new. You have this fabric at these touch points near the armrest. You get electric folding and electric RVMs, lock unlock button, window lock. The driver's side window is one touch up and down, and the others are not. You have this small crevice as a door handle as well as a small space to put anything that you want, like a wallet. Big enough crevice for a 1 liter water bottle. And I really need to mention the quality of plastics here, which is very good. Although these are not soft to touch, but the quality of these plastics is really good and they are very, very well put together. The seat height is nearly ideal, and you won't really have to fiddle with it much. Of course, you get a driver's seat height adjust, push button start and stop. This is the leveler, and these chrome bits that you see on the AC vents are new. Now, another great addition to the interior is these satin silver inserts on the dash, just the way they have been added on the door panels. And this 7-inch infotainment system also has been enhanced, and this camera that you see here now has multiple modes. So you can have a wide view, a normal view and a top view as well, just to see as to what lies beneath the bumper of your car. So that's a great addition. And in addition to that, this infotainment system called DigiPad 2 comes with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, WebLink, as well as the functionality to play back videos and show images. Now, this also comes with voice commands, and while a lot of manufacturers say that their voice commands work very well and they are self-learning and whatnot, what I've seen is they generally don't. And in that sense, this kind of a voice command system where you have a listed set of commands which can be easily recognized by the system works much better for me. So, for example, when I press this button, I can see the list. Radio.
Radio. Say
So-
radio function to operate.
AM.
AM.
So as you can see, a voice command system where I can see what I can say and where the system is also prepared to understand what I'm saying works much better for me, rather than having a supposedly advanced audio system where I don't know what to say and half the times the system does not understand. So in that sense, this system works rather well. You also get cruise control, which is a great feature. These satin silver inserts on the steering wheel are new, and you'll also get a lot of satin silver inserts here and there, including on the AC controls, around the AC control panel. You get chrome around the gear shift lever, and this boot for the gear selector is leather. You get a lot of space. There is enough space here for a wallet or a cell phone, two cup holders. There is another space here and a bottle holder right here. So no dearth of space, although I would have really wanted this car to have wireless charging, but fret not, if you want one, it's available as an accessory, and I'll come to accessories in a little bit, but you can have wireless charging as an accessory directly from Honda if you so wish. Although what you cannot have is a cooled glove box, which I would have wanted here, but it's not available. Overall, the quality of the dash is very good. As I mentioned, the plastics are very, very well appointed and the finish is fantastic. No complaints there. The mirror is manual, not auto dimming. On the visors, you don't get any toll ticket holders on the driver's side. It's not needed these days with the FASTag having been implemented, and you get a non-illuminated vanity mirror on the passenger side. You get two separate lights for the driver and front passenger. And in terms of power outlets, you get a 12 volt power socket and two USB sockets up front, which is par for course. And I really like the way this whole dashboard has been very neatly laid out. The headrests are adjustable, which is a great thing to have. They are not integrated, and these seats also have a new stitch pattern, and some changes have been made to the seat as well in terms of the way they are presented. The seats are reasonably well bolstered. I cannot say these are the best seats that I've seen in this class, but they are par for course. I could have probably done with a little bit more thigh support and slightly more width, but I'm not complaining. They are reasonably good. Now, while generally the seats are very comfortable, I really believe that Honda could have provided an armrest with the facelift, and that part is something that I believe is missing. Also, the audio system, while okay, is nothing great, and there are better audio systems available in this segment. So while the screen is good and the features and functionality is pretty good for the segment, I really believe that the quality of the sound could probably have been a little bit better. In terms of safety, this car comes with two airbags. It comes with ABS and EBD. It comes with Honda's ACE structure, and now it also gets ISOFIX child seat mounts at the rear as standard. This car has received a 4-star global NCAP rating, so this is a pretty safe car. So full marks to Honda for that as well. In terms of the instrument console, it's a traditional looking analog tacho and speedo on either side with a small multi-information display, which gives you all the information that you need. So no complaints there. The steering here is only tilt adjustable. However, on the automatic CVT version, you will also get the pedal shifters, which is quite an inclusion for this class. Now, you don't see anything fancy here. You have automatic climate control, which is par for course, but this cabin has been very, very neatly laid out, and it does reek of quality and solidity. It looks like it's been built to last, and Honda have paid special attention to making their cars in a manner where they last long, especially the Amaze. And over the past 3 years, this car has really proven its mettle. So it's very neatly laid out, very functional kind of an interior. Nothing too fancy here, but I really don't have any complaints either. It's reasonably comfortable owing to the fantastic suspension that I talked about. But for now, we need to go to the back and see all the features that we have there. Now, you don't get the satin silver inserts that you get up front. However, this is still the same high quality plastic. You get this fabric insert on the arm pad, and the window buttons are not one touch up and down. You do get a big enough crevice for a big water bottle. Seat height is reasonable. It could probably have been slightly higher, but this is not a crossover, it's a sedan, so I think there's nothing to complain there. Under thigh support is par for course, no complaints there as well. And as you can see, the knee room and leg room is sufficient as well. So in terms of comfort, there is no problem, but the headroom could definitely have been better. As I mentioned, this is not the tallest cars in its segment, so the headroom probably could have been a little bit better, and if you are 6 feet or taller, your head is going to brush with the roof. You get these handles here, which is good. There is an armrest with twin cup holders, and you also get a power outlet, which is a 12 volt power socket. You don't have a USB here, but that's fine. Magazine holders. But the big complaint that I have here is that you don't get adjustable headrests, and that's an unnecessary omission in my personal opinion. There should have been adjustable headrests, and they really would have helped enhance the comfort at the back seat, especially knowing that the ride quality of this car is fantastic, and not having adjustable headrests just gives the competition a reason to point out a lacuna in your car, and I would have liked this car to have adjustable headrests. As I mentioned before, you get ISOFIX child seat mounts on either side, and you don't have much of a hump here, so you can sit in the middle for short journeys. And while there is not enough width in this car to carry 5 well-built people over medium to long journeys, but for short city journeys you can indeed seat 5 people here, although they would be brushing their shoulders. There is a light here, which is a good inclusion, although there are no rear AC vents. Now, the AC on the Amaze is not the strongest in the segment, and it does take slightly longer to cool the cabin as compared to the other cars, and on a hot day it would take its own sweet time before it chills the cabin. So in that sense, I really believe that not having a rear AC vents is a bit of an omission. The seat belt for the third passenger is a lap belt, not a 3-point seat belt, of course, for this segment. And the seat back here is fixed, it doesn't fall. Although the seats are very well contoured, and this car is reasonably well insulated, so no complaints on that front. Also, if you're sitting in the back seat along with the fantastic suspension, you can actually undertake long journeys. And this car, in my personal opinion, for two at the back, offers one of the best rated comfort in its segment. Now the Amaze is available in E, S and VX variants, and while the petrol manual is available in E, S and VX, the petrol CVT is available only in S and VX, and the diesel CVT is available only in VX. The set of features which are available in all the three variants is provided on the screen, and we'll pause the video for 5 seconds so that you can have a look at all the features in different variants. Another big change on the exterior is this new color, which is called Meteoroid Grey, and in addition to this you get 4 colors, which are red, pearl white, lunar silver and golden brown metallic. Now while this car has a lot of highlights, I really believe that the biggest standout feature of this machine has to be its stellar ride quality, which really stands out. This car really gobbles all the rough surfaces and potholes, takes everything in its stride with aplomb. And if you're looking for a car which has to be driven on bad surfaces within the sedan segment, this car really makes a mark. So full marks to Honda to have understood the requirement of the Indian customer. And even on the more vicious of the speed bumps, this car maintains its poise and keeps the occupants in supreme comfort. Another big talking point about this car, of course, is its 1.2 liter iVTEC naturally aspirated engine, and it produces its peak power of 90 PS at 6000 rpm and peak torque of 110 newton meters at 4800 rpm. That figure of 90 PS is the best in class, next only to the Ford Aspire, and it really does reflect when you want to give this car the beans. It does take a bit of a time before it is on song, so you really have to rev it past 3,500-4,000 rpm to see what this is capable of. But once on song, it has a nice tone to it, and it does its 0 to 100 sprint in a shade less than 12 seconds. The not so likable thing about this car is its ARAI fuel efficiency number, and at 18.6 kmpl for the manual and 18.3 kmpl for the CVT in the petrol version, the fuel efficiency here is not segment leading. In fact, it's the worst, next only to the Aspire, which has a fuel efficiency figure of 18.5. and if you really translate those numbers to the real world efficiency, it's not so bad actually, and you'll get about 13 to 14 kmpl within the city, and on the highway you'll get about 16 to 17 kmpl if you're driving with a light right foot. So if you compare it directly with the Dzire does have a better real world fuel efficiency, and that really is the only disadvantage that this car has. But if you're going with the diesel, there you have a fantastic fuel efficiency figure of 24.7 kmpl, although with the CVT it comes down to 21 kmpl. And also what you need to understand is that for diesel, the power and torque figures vary for the manual and the CVT variant. So while for the manual you get 100 PS and 200 Newton meters, for the CVT you get 80 PS and 160 Newton meters. Now while the ride quality is fantastic, I really wish I could have said the same thing about the steering also, and it feels rather inert at the center. I really wish this had more weight to it, a little bit more engagement when it was turned around corners, especially for the fact that the suspension is so very well tuned, and a more engaging steering would have made this car so much more fun to drive. However, I really believe that the steering can definitely do with a bit more feel and a bit more precision, but nothing to complain about for the kind of segment that it's targeted at. Very light, so very easy to maneuver in the city. And apart from that, a great feature of this engine again is its tractability. So even at very low revs, it keeps trundling along. So for example, if I push it into third gear right now and take it to revs which are way below 1000 rpm, as you can see right now, I am trundling along at about what, barely 600-700 rpm. It doesn't splutter, doesn't stutter, and with the dab on the pedal, it starts moving along. So for the city, it does offer great amount of tractability, and even in the fifth gear, as you can see right now, I'm driving it at speeds at about 25 kilometers per hour. So tractability is a high point of this engine, and along with this beautiful slick shifting gearbox, it would make for a fantastic car to drive around in the city, even in the manual version. So you will not miss an automatic, and if you're going for a manual and if you are going to be braving traffic, this car presents itself as a very drivable, very tractable option. Now this 5-speed transmission along with a light clutch is a joy to operate, and we really like the way the engine revs as well. It's been redlined at 6,500 RPM, but the limiter cuts in at 6,750 RPM, and the way this VTEC revs is quite unique for this segment, and we quite love this engine. In terms of gear speeds, the first gear will take you to 50 kilometers per hour, the second gear will take you to 93 kilometers per hour, and the third gear will take you past 100 all the way to 140 kilometers per hour. So that's how the gear ratios are spread out. The engine is very refined, and it's one of the best in the business, no two ways about it. Very reliable. My only grouse here would be with the fuel efficiency. Apart from that, for the kind of use that this car is meant for, I really believe that there is not much to complain about. The diesel, on the other hand, although very tractable, very torquey, one of the most powerful and the torquiest diesels in the segment, next only to the Ford Aspire, is slightly noisy. If you can live with that, it's one of the best diesel engines. In terms of handling, I really believe that the petrol feels more natural. The weight distribution is a little bit better. It can be chucked around corners with a lot of confidence, although there is a little bit of body roll and the steering does not support enthusiastic driving too much, but it is a very reassuring set of four wheels. The diesel doesn't feel as natural because of the nose heavy nature. The heavier diesel engine sitting up front doesn't feel as natural, but it still is a fine motor to drive. Not the most enthusiast friendly, but it is a very reassuring set of four wheels, as I mentioned before. Holds its line very well, and for all practical purposes, it does feel like a very well built, very solid, very refined car, especially in the petrol guise. And for the diesel, except for the noise, it's again a very well built, very fuel efficient and very reliable engine. Insulation is very well covered as well, and this car cuts out outside noises, be it road noise, ambient noise, wind noise, pretty well. And save for my only grouse, which is not offering the best in class fuel efficiency, I really think that there is nothing much to complain about here. And unless you are an enthusiast who wants a car that handles like a dream, this car checks almost all the boxes. A tried and tested package, a trusty old petrol and a very fuel efficient diesel, and if you want a reliable package, the Honda Amaze is one of the most reliable options that you have out there. Now, before we talk about the relevance of this car and compare it with its rivals in terms of pricing, let's get a few things straight. It comes with a 3 years unlimited kilometers warranty, which can be extended to 5 years unlimited kilometers, or you can also extend it to 10 years anytime warranty. So that's a very good package that you get here. Also, this car holds its resale value really well, so that's another parameter that you really have to keep in mind. It's a Honda, so it's built well and doesn't trouble you. The components are good. So all of those things are something that we have to keep in mind before we pass the final verdict. It's a rugged car and it has a proven track record. And keeping all of those things in mind, let's talk about the prices. Now, the petrol manual of this car ranges from 6.3 to 8.2 lakh rupees, and the CVT petrol ranges from 8 lakhs to 9 lakh rupees. The diesel variants range from 8.6 lakh rupees to 10.25 lakh rupees for the manual, and the only CVT diesel is available for 11 lakh rupees. Now, petrol to petrol, these prices, if you compare it with the Dzire, they are head on, and that really says a lot about the competitive pricing of this car. So in terms of its positioning, it takes the battle to the Dzire, and in my personal opinion, this is better built, and you can definitely feel that the quality of the materials inside is slightly better too. So in terms of pricing, it's positioned in the same ballpark. However, the big advantage that this car has is that it has a diesel option along with an automatic, and the Dzire does not have a diesel option at all. which brings us to its another rival, which is the Hyundai Aura. And Aura's pricing is 6 lakhs to 8.7 lakh rupees, and again the pricing of the two cars is pretty similar. And while the Aura does have a few extra features like a wireless charger, this car also offers the feature as an option, and it does generally come across as a car which is better to drive and is slightly better built. However, if it's the diesel that you're looking for, then the Aura, even with its smaller diesel with lesser power, is an option which is available for lesser price, and the top end automatic diesel of the Aura is available for 9.4 lakh rupees ex-showroom as compared to 11 lakh rupees on the Amaze. Next we have the Aspire, which does not have any automatic options, 7.3 to 7.6 lakh rupees for the petrol and 8.4 to 8.7 lakh rupees for the diesel. The fuel efficiency on the petrol, there is nothing great to write home about. However, for those amongst you who want a fun to drive diesel, we can definitely recommend the Aspire, as in my personal opinion that car is the most fun to drive, although it can probably do with a little bit of an update and some feature additions. And finally we have the Tigor, which by far is the lowest priced of the lot. So if you're looking only for the least sticker price, you can also look at the Tigor, although the refinement, the build quality and the overall pride of ownership aspect would be missing a little bit there. So there you have it, guys. I really believe that the Amaze is a competent product, and in the petrol, guys, it definitely is one of the best cars to buy. Its only Achilles heel in the petrol, guys, is the lack of its relatively low fuel efficiency, and for the diesel it's slightly more expensive than its rival, but all in all it's a very well built, solid product. I really hope that I was able to give you a good perspective of the Amaze vis-a-vis its primary rivals. And if you like this video, do not forget to give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, subscribe to Motoroids, press that bell icon, and always put Motoroids in your searches when you're looking for high quality, in-depth, long format videos. Do tell your friends and family interested in cars about us. And until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.